Hello, my beautiful creative souls, my revolutionaries in the making. I want to congratulate you for taking this first step toward embracing your creative power and becoming the person you were meant to be, becoming the medicine for this mad, crazy world. Now here, I'm not going to give you this long drawn out life story about how creativity changed my life. Maybe I'll write a memoir one day and you can read it if you're interested. But frankly, I'm really tired of all these teachers who want to tell you a 30-minute long story that has nothing to do with what they need. So we're going to cut that part short. We're going to get right to the point. I'm going to give you 11 very practical, very digestible, concise, actionable steps that you can take to begin opening to your creativity right now, today, this moment, and moving forward. No matter what your days look like, no matter what's going on in your life, I'm not going to ask you to go to Peru and drink ayahuasca, or to go to an ashram and stay for 6 months, or to sit in meditation for 3 hours a day and neglect your personal life. These are easy things to do that will begin to open you and to begin to encourage you. You'll feel your own ember start to grow and to begin to flame up, just honoring these few little steps that I'll share with you today. Beginning with, now don't recoil when I say this, step 1 to unlock your creativity, meditation. I know you're probably thinking, oh my God, that's what everybody says, that's old news, everybody knows you meditate and everything changes. But are you meditating? Meditation only works if you have a practice that you engage in on a regular basis. Meditation is a state of being in which your mind quiets enough and gets out of the way so that your creative self, your soul, can be heard, can speak to you, can live through you, can be embodied more fully through your vessel, because you practice that in that meditative state. And most people don't know what that state feels like. We're so busy, we're constantly running and doing and trying to make ourselves more acceptable to this very sick, industrialized culture that we don't even know what it feels like. My suggestion to you for step 1, find a meditation tool or process that works for you to get into that meditative state, whether it's binaural beats, whether it's meditation music, chanting, whether it's just sitting quietly, whatever works for you. Step 1 is to discover that and to follow through with practicing it every day. For me personally, I found 30 minutes is the time frame that I needed to get quiet. I have a very active mental body. If you're a bright person, like I'm pretty sure you probably are, your mind is going to take some time to settle. That's okay. I want you to find the process that allows you to sink into that meditative state where there are fewer thoughts, less of a need for you to follow those thoughts or to believe them as true. And you can find this state of being where there's less awareness and sensation of the body and the mind, and a heightened awareness of your creative self or your soul. Step 1, don't neglect it. All right. Action step 2 to opening to your creativity is go outside. I'm outside for a reason. It's not because I wanted this beautiful autumn backdrop for my video. I did, but being outside in nature is your natural habitat. When you are inside of a building or in a car or in a highly urbanized area, you are outside of your normal habitat as a human being. That is not good for your creativity. You're being influenced by the morphogenic field of the city, of the industrialized, built-up culture, which is diametrically opposed to creativity and to nature. Earth is the ultimate generative being. She's a magic sphere. Look at everything that has been brought forth, including you from this earth, from nature. There are so many benefits. The breeze that you hear moving through these trees right now, that is generating a shower of negative ions. People buy negative ion air filters to put in their house to try to make it feel more like being in nature. It's nonsensical. Go outside. Seriously, go outside, get sun on your skin. You need more than just vitamin D. You need to interact with the sun. The sun is giving you information. Whether you can get down with that belief system or not, you can't deny that when you go into the sun, you feel better. When you breathe fresh air, you are literally inspired. When you have your bare feet on the earth and you walk on the earth, the ion exchange that's happening as you are literally grounding yourself clears your mind of the static that prevents you from connecting with your creative self and hearing your soul and feeling at peace and like you belong as a part of the ecosystem of this planet. So step 2 is very simple. Get a cup of tea and a cup perhaps made by your favorite ceramic artist, and just let yourself be a human animal. Step 2. All right, step 3, to unlock your creativity, and this particularly applies to people who identify as artists. I want you to change mediums. Step 3, change the medium that you're playing with. If you're a producer, singer-songwriter, and you're feeling stuck, uninspired, paint. Take a baking class. Make a batch of cookies. Go outside and collect any kind of sticks or twigs or beautiful leaves, dried flowers that appeal to you, and make a wreath or something. But the only critical factor with this changing mediums is whatever it is that you're creating, you're not allowed to make it into a product and sell it. The purpose of changing mediums is to allow your creative energy to flow. You've somehow pinched off the channel for your usual medium, probably because you've gotten too emotionally attached to or mentally fixated on the idea of creating a product to sell, creating a product that is more acceptable to the very sick, twisted, batshit crazy culture that you're literally trying to change. You can't change the culture that is sick by becoming a part of it or trying to appeal to it. We can only change it by creating new. So if you feel like you're pinched off in this one area of your creativity, your favorite go-to area, then do something else. Take a salsa dancing class, belly dance, learn to sew, make a scarf, color your hair a wild color. Do something else. Let your creativity come through in an area where you know this is not anything you plan on selling. There's no pressure to create a product or to monetize it or slap a label on it. You're creating for the joy of creating and for the purpose of connecting with your soul, your creative self. And when you do that, when you change mediums and you create for that reason, you open yourself up to remembering the joy of creation, the whole reason you got into your favorite medium to begin with. So, step 3, change mediums for a bit. All right, step 4 to unlock your creativity is practice. I see this a lot with writers in particular. I don't know what it is. There's something about the anxiety of starting a writing project that prevents them from starting one. And then if you don't write, you don't practice writing, you don't become more proficient at it. And each time you practice starting, not starting with anxiety, that anxiety builds. Your energetic field holds the imprint of feeling anxious and stressed about creating and writing. And so the next time you think about creating or writing, the anxiety comes up again, because that's how we're wired. We're wired to remember the negative experiences as a survival instinct. We have to overcome that scared little animal within us, in our lower brain and in some places of our body. Let it know it's going to be okay. And practice. The more you practice writing, and again, let go of the need to create a product that you're going to share or sell. Journaling is a fantastic way to practice writing. Blogging, Facebook. Find a way to just practice your craft every day. Every single day. If it's just for a couple of minutes, naturally, you're going to want to carve out bigger blocks of time to practice as well. but at least give yourself some time every day to practice your thing that's your favorite creative channel. You'll build confidence because your technique will be better, but you'll also build the ability to connect at will with your creative self anytime you want to, without feeling the anxiety and the fear and the resistance that go along with that if you don't practice very often. Now, I don't believe that practice makes perfect. I think that's a lie, and I think it keeps people stuck in perfectionism. I think practice makes everything smoother, more accessible, and you become more proficient at opening to your creativity. So, find a way to carve out some time to practice your creative thing. Step number 5 is free writing and journaling. Journaling is a practice that many of us are familiar with for writing down your feelings or something that you're going through at that time, as a way to kind of chronicle your life and to get in touch with your feelings. Free writing is a different practice where we put the pen to the paper or our fingers to the keyboard, and whatever flows through us, we allow it to come without judgment, without objection, without editing. This is a way to begin to channel. All creation is a form of channeling, and the more practice you have at this channeling process, the better you will become across the board as a creator and as a revolutionary, as one who deconstructs the old sick system by creating the new. This is a particularly important practice for people who identify as writers of any kind, for people who write lyrics for songs, poetry, content for websites, or if you just feel drawn to writing as a spiritual practice or as a way to get in tune with yourself. Just sitting down, dump anything that's in your mind. Not only will it clear your mind and your emotional field and your mental body of the garbage that's in the way of your connection with your creative self, but you will practice the opening process, the trusting process, knowing that there's always something waiting to come through. Free writing lets you know there is always something waiting to come through. I'm not thinking this up. You don't think anything up that's of any value. To think up is to stink up. That's what I like to say. You're not thinking. You're getting your mind and your thoughts out of the way long enough to let the communication from your higher creative self come through. It feels very different. If you've never practiced free writing before, you'll know it feels very different. It feels very automatic. You feel like you're not really doing the process, but you're allowing the process. So, practice free writing and journaling. Excellent way to unlock your creativity. Step 6 to unlocking your creativity is to get energy work. Now, energy work comes in so many different forms. It is a totally unregulated industry, which is good. You'll have to use your discernment and your own intuition in choosing what is right for you. Some would argue that everything is energy work because everything's energy. The sound of my voice, the sunlight, the phone that I'm recording this on, all of it at a fundamental level is energy. So everything is energy work. But for the sake of keeping things clear, what I'm referring to are things like Reiki, the bodywork portion of polarity therapy, sound therapy, shamanic healing, guided meditation. Some guided meditation facilitators are very adept energy workers. Essentially, these are facilitators and practices that work with your subtle energy body, with your emotional body, with the mental body, with your etheric body, with imprints that may be living within the tissues of your body. Energy work allows you, particularly if there is trauma in your history that is blocking you from opening up to your creativity and trusting your own soul and your own life. Energy work helps to ramp down that fight or flight trauma-based imprint in the nervous system and in the body, to allow it to understand that it's okay, you're not in danger. It's safe to open to this. It's safe to put myself out there to share my creations. It also helps to clear your mind. If you have a particularly busy mental body, intelligent people usually have a lot of mental noise if they haven't mastered the mental body and how to get it to work with them. Energy work brings a very deep sense of peace and alignment with your own soul that you may not be able to experience just yet on your own because you're not adept and practiced at doing that. Energy work has been profound for me in my process of healing. It has opened my creativity probably in ways I'll never know until I'm out of this body and can see everything more clearly. So I highly recommend, if you want a list of practitioners I can recommend in Central Ohio, I will post that. Get energy work. It will change your life. Step 7 to unlocking yourself. Move and make sounds. We have been indoctrinated in this culture with this sit down, shut up mentality. To gain acceptance from authority, we're told to be quiet, not to be weird, not to move around, to sit still. Think about how young you were when you were conditioned to believe that that was good. The problem is, it is diametrically opposed to how the human body and human energy field work in a healthy way. We need to move. We have joints for a reason. They're not there to help us sit still. We have a voice for a reason, and it's not there to be suppressed so that we can be quiet and acceptable to authority. It's critical that, especially if you don't ever practice a movement practice like yoga or dance, or if you're not a singer or speaker, if you identify as a quiet or shy person, a movement practice of some kind, even if it's something you make up yourself, you only do at home in your own living room, you're moving in a way like ecstatic dance that just feels right for your body, whatever way you need to move to free the stuck energy in your vessel. The same goes for the voice. You don't have to be a singer per se. You don't have to sing. Just make whatever sound you need to make in the moment to move whatever it is that's stuck and get it shimmering, get it shaking, get it dancing around and out of your field. There are practices such as vocal toning. I offer groups locally where we come together, non-singers and singers alike, to do toning, which is just holding out vowel sounds or making sounds with our voices as a practice of energy work. You can join a choir. If you're really just not sure about this, just do it at home in your own living room. Put on your favorite song and move around. Don't try to do dance moves, because again, that's pressure to create a product or something that is seen as cool or acceptable in the sick culture. As a matter of fact, move in a way that you think would be unacceptable. That if anybody saw you, they would be like, "What are you doing?" That's it. That's the way you need to move. Move the way that feels good to your form. Take a walk in the woods if you're too shy to even do that. Start to feel how moving your form frees up your mind and opens the connection to your creative self, because it can see that your vessel is ready, you're prepared, you're moving, energy is moving through your system, and your creative self goes, "Oh look, an opening." And using our voice and making sounds and moving is an excellent way to do that. Step 8 to opening to your creativity is to notice more. Human beings are designed with this wonderful sensory equipment. We can see and smell and taste and touch and even extrasensory things, but we're so conditioned to not pay attention to anything but the task at hand. Checking our email, driving to work. We've become these automatons that have forgotten our sensitivity, our ability to observe and sense the world around us. Begin to use your senses more intentionally. What does your morning commute smell like? The different roads you drive down, what smells do you notice? Really feel the texture and the hand of the fabric that you're wearing right now. What are all the sounds around you? Pick up the sounds that are in this video. Sounds of nature, sounds of industry. Begin using your senses in ways you don't typically. begin becoming aware that there's so much more around you to pick up on. This is the beginning of cultivating the sensitivity and awareness you need to hear the voice of your creative self. It does not shout. It doesn't always make sense. It doesn't speak to us in complete sentences. The creative self uses all of our sensory equipment to communicate with us. The creative self does not speak to us in complete linear sentences. The creative self speaks to us through all of our senses. You may notice a certain smell and it inspires you to write something. Something looks different or shifts, or the colors of the leaves are changing, and at once your heart opens and you remember a time of your life that you're recollecting for a reason, because there's a memory there that needs to be processed. This is how creativity works. Cultivating and developing the sensitivity and the awareness in your body vessel to be a better listener for your creative self. Step 9 in unlocking your creativity is to get clarity. Sometimes we will automatically assume that we're blocked or we're stuck, when really what's happening is our creative self is redirecting us away from what we've become obsessively focused on finishing or completing in a certain way or certain time, which is very linear and not how the creative self works. It's trying to redirect us to another piece of the puzzle that we need to create what we intended to create. Or perhaps we're not really stuck, but it's time to work on a different aspect of the project. We're obsessed with mix down, when right now the song's not ready to be mixed down because you've left out 2 instruments that have been yelling at you that they want to be in the song, and you haven't heard them because you're so focused on turning that one track up and down the same 1 decibel that you've been doing for the last 3 weeks, that your mental obsession is blocking the flow of your creativity, which is saying, hey, this needs flute, or hey, wouldn't it be nice to have dulcimer there? Get clarity. Ask yourself, perhaps in meditation, am I really stuck, or am I being redirected? Am I receiving guidance that it's time for a rest? Have I rested recently, or am I compulsively creating because I'm feeling like I have to do this? Get clarity around what's actually happening. Is it a redirection? Is it guidance? Is it time for rest? Or maybe it really is a block that does need to be addressed. Step 10, talk to a friend or to a practitioner if you've alienated yourself from all of your friends. But in all seriousness, sometimes we need to say something out loud. Many creative types, due to our sensitivity and our tendency to isolate from the world and a tendency to protect our most vulnerable bits because we're afraid of backlash or attack, because of that tendency, we'll isolate and be like, oh God, I'm stuck. Blah, blah, blah. And if you just sit down and have tea or coffee or a beverage of your choice with another human and say, you know what, lately I've been feeling stuck. I just don't have any passion in my life. I go to work every day and I feel like I'm just going through the motions. You know, I don't feel like I'm supposed to be an artist, but I'm supposed to be something other than this. Just saying these things out loud, that is a spell. You're literally casting a spell. You're opening a doorway. You're saying that what I am right now is not it. I'm ready to expand into the next version of me. Whether you identify as an artist or a writer or creative even or not. How long have you felt dissatisfied? How long have you felt like you're drinking a vanilla milkshake every day? How long have you been driving to work in a box, parking in a little box, going into a little box-shaped building where you're producing the little boxes that'll be distributed to bigger boxes and strip malls driven there on rolling boxes, and where all the automatons go inside the store and shuffle through the aisles half asleep in a trance and pick up boxes upon boxes upon boxes, thinking that that's what's going to help them to feel alive again. How long have you been in that box? You don't need another box. What you need is to sit down and admit to another person out loud that you are more. You're meant to be more. You're meant to create more. And that deep down inside, no matter how conservative you may be, or how much you may claim to love your corporate job, deep down inside, you know that this world and this culture is sick. It's crazy. And the desire within you can feel as dissatisfaction, as boredom, as apathy, as reaching for an antidepressant. That's the part of you that says, this is some bullshit. I don't want to participate in this. I came here to create a new world that looks very different from that one. So deference to authority and complying with this culture, that is not what you came here to do. And you need to sit down with another human being who's probably feeling a lot of the same stuff that you are, but they're afraid to admit it because that would make them less acceptable to the sick society. They're probably feeling the same way that you are. And when you say that out loud and that release happens and you're like, oh God, I finally admitted it. I'm feeling blocked or stopped. I'm feeling blocked or stuck. I'm feeling disengaged from my life. I love my family, but I just feel dead. Every time I paint, I feel like I'm just making crap. All the music I make sounds like the songs that I made on my last album. Say it out loud. Talk to a friend. You would not believe how much energy this can move just to admit that you are aware of and acknowledging what is with compassion. And if you can't have compassion for yourself, your friend will have compassion for you. I know they will. Feel that compassion for where you are opens the door to expanding into more. Talk to a friend. All right, the 11th and final step, because I love 11, that's my number, is to let it rise. We have been conditioned to believe that uncomfortable feelings are bad and wrong and we shouldn't have them. That if we feel anxious, we should take a pill. If we need to relax, we should drink alcohol. If we feel dissatisfied with our life, there's something that we can take or do to smash that feeling and make it go away. One of the most beautiful acts of self-love you can offer to yourself that opens the door to waterfalls of creativity and inspiration and passion is to just let your feelings rise up and be there. Be with them. When that anxiety comes in, let it be there. Don't try to push it away or do a breathing technique or go run a mile or play basketball or take a pill to make it go away. The very last panic attack I ever had lasted about 30 seconds. And it was because I just held my arms out and I said, come on. I said, I've been trying to avoid you for so long. I just said, come on in. Let me see what you're trying to tell me. My body got so hot, I felt like I was on fire. My body was on fire. My heart felt like it was going, there was a set of hands or claws kind of pulling it apart like this. I couldn't help but to hold my arms out. Like the pictures that you see of people in religious ecstasy, which I was absolutely appalled by because I had a lot of resistance to religion due to my upbringing, long story. I couldn't help but hold my arms out because the state that I was in called for the most open posture possible, because I had allowed a part of me to come and sit with me as a beloved, as an invited guest, instead of as something that I've been trying to squash or heal. Careful with that healing stuff, or make go away. So whatever it is that you're feeling, whatever uncomfortable, blocked, stuck feeling you have around your creativity, if you're an artist, or just around your life, whatever the uncomfortable feeling is, let it rise. Have a conversation with it. Treat it as if it's a beloved friend that you've been ignoring and pushing away and treating like an enemy for a long time. Maybe an apology is in order. Maybe you need to tell that part of yourself, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were a part of me. I didn't know you deserved my acceptance and my love. I thought something was wrong with me. Please forgive me for thinking that you were dysfunction. Let that feeling come in, let it rise, and let it be there. And you'll be surprised as soon as you accept it and let it be there. Whatever it had to tell you, whatever gift was there for it to give you, you will receive, and you'll know you're receiving it. There will be no question, okay? These things aren't subtle. And all of a sudden, the feeling moves along. But it won't move until you get to the point where you can love it. And that's a whole webinar course in and of itself. Maybe we'll get into some other day. But for now, just get into the attitude of, I'm gonna just let it rise, whatever it is, and be with it. All right, that concludes the 11 concise, actionable steps you can take to begin to unlock your creativity and live an impassioned life. And if this is resonating for you, if you feel like this is something you for real need to do, not this is amusing or entertaining or, oh, wouldn't that be fun? I'm sorry, but I don't want that kind of energy in this course. The button that you see down below and the timer that's running, that is for you if you are prepared to understand that you are a revolutionary. You are here to change this system by becoming the person you meant to be. Not who I think you should be, or who corporate culture says you should be, or who yoga culture says you should be. There's a version of you that is scratching and clawing and calling to emerge in you right now. Maybe you felt it before and that's why you clicked to join this webinar, or maybe you've just felt it start to burn and to rise up during this webinar. Whatever it is, if you feel it, if you know you need to unlock your creativity because you have a career in the arts, or because you are simply compelled to create, or because your life feels so neutral and beige and dead and soulless inside that you just can't take it anymore, you know there's more. If you know there's more, click that button, because when the timer runs out, as you can see what's written there, you will not have access to the discount. This online course, Unlock Your Creativity, is 3 weeks of very clear and concise content. You will receive a workbook that is not double-spaced crap that you already know. It is just the information that you need with very practical exercises to help you embody it. Information is of no use if there's no practical means by which you can embody it and actually use it in your life. The purpose of the workbook is to help you use what you're learning. You will also have access to the Facebook group, where you have a community of people who are all of like mind. They're not just toying with the idea of maybe making a change. That is not what this is about. This is if you are ready, if you are actually ready to embody this truth. The people in the Facebook group are ready to embody that truth. They're ready to unlock their creativity, to communicate with their creative self, and to generate and create a life that is soulful, purposeful, satisfying, world-changing. You'll also have access to 3 live events where you will join with your classmates and me, and I will answer all the questions that you might have about your process that are coming up. If you're feeling stuck or blocked in a certain way and the 11 steps maybe aren't working for you, or you have a question about a step, ask me anything. We'll be there for an hour. Everyone will get that itch scratched and be able to move on past any resistance or blocks that you may have. During these live events, I use things such as guided meditations, EFT, if you're familiar, tapping, which is wonderful for moving stuck energy in the emotional body and getting you clear of the fear-based resistance that blocks you from making change. And I'll also be throwing in surprises that I don't even know are coming, because you know what? I don't plan everything. That is a disservice to you. It is a disservice to me, and it is blasphemy to my creative self for me to sit here and say I can think up everything that needs to be said and done and not open myself to what creative self would say needs to be done. in the moment with the people that are there. So, if you're feeling this, if this is for you, if you're ready to open up, if you're ready to receive guidance and practical steps that you can use to make actual transformative change, click that button down below before the timer runs out to get the discount, and I will see you on the other side.
With ease and grace, my life unfolds before